The FIDE Grand Swiss 2025 is bringing forth to us some exciting pairings, and I would say this one is right up there at the top. We have Yagiz Kaan Erdogmus on the right of your screen taking on Hans Niemann. And there you see the handshake. Yagiz Kaan, 14 years old only, an amazing talent from Turkey. And Hans Niemann, well, he needs no introduction. He's well known in the world of chess. Also, one of the biggest stars from US, biggest young talents. We kind of forget that Hans is just in his early 20s right now, and he is taking on Erdogmus here, who has played brilliantly. Yagiz Kaan, unbeaten until now, has had wins against Goryachkina, Aditya Mittal, and such a great performance. Let's see if Hans Niemann, who's also unbeaten, is able to beat the youngster. Pawn to e4 played by Hans, and very quickly e5 by Yagiz. Knight comes out to f3 by Hans Niemann. And what is Yagiz's thing there? He goes knight to f6, the Petroff, and I think it's played to surprise Hans. It's not Yagiz's main weapon, but it also is quite an interesting choice against an active player like Hans Niemann. At the same time, I'm not 100% sure about the style of play of Yagiz, so does it suit him to play the Petroff? We'll see. Knight to e4. And now Hans has to decide what line will he play here against the Petroff. He takes his time and pushes his pawn to d4. I think it's very important to set yourself up well against the Petroff, because many times if you are in a rush, it could lead to a position where you have no winning chances. It's that solid opening. d5 played by Yagiz. And now bishop comes out to d3. Let's see what he plays here. Knight to c6. Interesting line played here. This was quite well known in the past. And generally here you go bishop e7, c4, knight b4. It's one of those lines which was very popular in the Vichy Anand era. Bishop g4 played here, pinning the knight, threatening knight takes d4 maybe. c3 played. The main move is c4, but c3 by Hans, and f5. Wow, this is aggressive chess by Yagiz. He's playing Petroff like Sicilian here. Knight to d2 by Hans Niemann. Brings his knight, in fact connects the knight on f3 so that he can start moving his queen away. Queen comes up to f6, and believe it or not guys, after 9 moves we have a fresh position here. Queen to a4 played. Wow, this is getting exciting now. The queen comes out of the pin, threatening knight e5. Short castle, no, long castles here. Wow, what a game this is turning out to be. And Hans moves his bishop to b5, and Yagiz, who is down to 23 minutes on the clock, he's been thinking a lot for some of his moves. Knight takes d2. You must take back with the knight so that your kingside structure is not fractured. Knight takes d2, and now f4 is the best move. He plays it with 21 minutes on the clock. f3 is coming in, and now Hans Niemann, he plays a beautiful move, rook e1. I love this because he controls the e file. It can come in very handy. f3. Yagiz is like, I'm going in for the attack. Maybe taking on c6 is a good decision here. Take here, pawn takes, and then g3, but he goes h3. Wow. And the idea here, take hg, and queen h4 could be deadly if Yagiz plays it. F takes g2 can be a very, very strong idea, but he goes bishop h5. He doesn't really take it, and now actually Hans Niemann has a very powerful sequence at his disposal here. He finds bishop takes c6. It's the best move to get the e5 square. B takes c6, and now rook to e5 is the move that you are looking for. And plays it. He finds it. Rook to e5. Incredible move by Hans Niemann, attacking the bishop on h5. Queen goes to g6, attacking the pawn on g2 and g3, defending it. And you can see here Erdogmus down to 3 minutes on the clock, 2.5 minutes in fact. But here's the beautiful move that Hans finds. Knight to b3. If you take the rook, knight c5 with a mate threat coming in, queen a6. So he goes rook h8. Doesn't take here. He needs to control the c5 square. But bishop e3 and rook e8, trying to play quickly here. But Hans Niemann is now winning here in this position. He takes the pawn on c6. We are at move 20 and Erdogmus already down to 1 minute on the clock. He takes bishop e5 and Hans finds queen a8 check. King has to come up, king d7. Now you can chop off the pawn on d5, but there is bishop d6. So that's the reason why he comes knight to c5. Very strong move. And after king e7, you now take the pawn on d5, which is great play. And the main point being, if you save the bishop now, bishop g5 leads to a checkmate. So that's the reason why he goes queen to f5. But Hans has many ways to win now. D takes e5 is also winning because there's no time to take on h3 here. If you take on h3, I have bishop g5 with a mating attack. But he finds bishop g5 directly. The king is trapped here. Rook comes to f6. And yeah, this is all over. D takes e5 coming in. He takes it. Pawn takes on e5. And there's a pin here attacking the rook. Queen takes g5. And e takes f6 check. You can see that the material is even now. In fact, white is a pawn up, but the black king is absolutely busted. Rook e1 check is coming in. And there are many ways to win. In fact, queen d7 and knight e6 is also finishing. In fact, even before Hans Niemann makes his move, Yaz resigns the game. He's like, I don't want to continue this position. It was a complete decimation here in 26 moves. Hans Niemann plays brilliant chess, moves on to 5 points out of 7. And after the game, we managed to speak with Hans to get his thoughts on this battle and his chances in this tournament.
Hans, what a game it was today. First of all, congratulations, and can you take us through today's game?
Yeah, so he played the Petroff, which I don't think he's ever played before. He played a lot of things against e4, but I guess he wanted to play the one thing that surprised me, but he's a bit young and inexperienced, so playing the Petroff without theoretical knowledge can go very wrong like it did today. Bishop g4 was a very fighting line, so I was really happy. But after queen f6, my play was just so simple. You know, bishop, queen a4, bishop e5, and then it's quite. If I get my knight to e5, and I was really happy with this move, knight b3, and I saw it actually from a distance. Like after I played h3, rook e1 is actually a very strong move because if he plays a6, I play bishop c6, queen c6, queen c6, bc6, and now I have h3. And the point after h3 is that if bishop h5, I have rook e5. And if he plays g6, now I have knight b3. bishop b4, bishop takes f4, bishop b5, bishop 5. Now I sacrifice the exchange, but my next game it's technically lost. So this was, rook e5 was quite critical. And if he then has to play f3, after, obviously it looks like he has some attack. After h3, I thought the critical move was h5. Because I can't really take. But actually h5, I thought I had a very strong move, queen d1. And it's quite counterintuitive to think that I'm attacking, but now I go queen d1. But after, I'm actually just going to win the pawn, and including h3 and h5 leaves sort of a weakness on g5. And I'm extremely solid. I'm going to win a pawn until I get the two bishops. So h3, queen d1, and then I thought maybe I have to play bishop d6, knight f3, rook df8, bishop b2. And unless he has something quite concrete, I'm just better. But bishop h5, I think, is just losing because after knight b3, for example, after rook takes e5, he also had no time left. If he played, I thought the best move was rook e8 instead of bishop d6, bishop b6, knight b3, bishop b5, knight c5, it's just game over. He probably missed knight c5. Because after knight c5, he can play rook e8, I play queen a7, still threatening mate, and then king d8, d5, and then he has to, rook e5, queen b8, king c7, queen c7, king f6, knight d6, 77 check, and I win the rook. So he really had no. And then yeah, bishop, queen takes d5, queen c6 immediately. The bishop, he could have played, bishop e5, queen a8, knight c5, king e7, queen d5. He could have played queen d6, and I wasn't exactly sure after bishop g5. He has rook f6, queen e5, and now king f7. So I thought, at the absolute worst case, I just play queen takes e5, queen e5, d5. I have two pawns. His f3 pawn could be weak, g4 king to g3, and then a7 is a bit weak. So that was in the worst case, but he collapsed, I guess, in the end.
Amazing. And in the rest days today, what did you do? And is there something? Did you do any preparation at all?
Yeah, I analyzed a lot of his games
Yeah.
With both colors to sort of get to know him as a player. Actually, we played a match online maybe last December, and I think I beat him 11 games in a row with one loss. So maybe I had a psychological edge.
Yeah, you have you're having a fantastic tournament now, and how are you planning for the rest of the tournament?
No, I feel great. Obviously, sometimes in these opens you need a bit of help.
Yeah.
The win with black was crucial. Now I have momentum. +3 is a great score, so I should be in great position to fight for a candidate spot.
Great. Looking forward to that, and thank you, and all the very best.
Thank you.